Lineage Nation, wake their ass up.
In Pure Thoughts, Pure Cushion. Hey, that was Sproingg. Yes, Sproingg. That comes from the album Clam. Yeah, before that, you think we're going somewhere with this, don't you? I know we are. Before that was a track called Crumfutter. That comes from the debut album, Sproing's first album. And we kicked that set off with No Place for Children, again from the debut album from Sproingg. Yes, and you can go pick all those up over at sproing.bandcamp.com. Yes, welcome everybody to WTAU Pea Ridge, a nation I tell you. Got Papa Jack back on the couch again tonight. A special WTAU Pea Ridge, a nation show. Tonight we're going to be featuring Sproingg. And yeah, man. And like I said, a brand new album out now. Yes, Hirnkäse. Hirnkäse. See, I'm having time for my Hirnkäse. And brand new. So this makes their third album now. Three-piece band out of Germany. And we got them here tonight. We're going to give them an interview, talk to the guys. And then after that, we're going to spin the album in its entirety, all the way through, the way it's meant to be heard. And yeah, so you guys, we're all in for a treat tonight. I can assure you that. This is a really, really cool album. Been digging it, man. And so yeah, so looking forward to this very much tonight. Like I said, man, you can go pick up all three of their albums now over at sproing.bandcamp.com. So with let's get this thing started. So with that being all said, let's go ahead and do this, man. Want to welcome Eric, Jonas, and Prudy. Yeah, man, let's go ahead and let's bring them in. Okay, we've got the band Sproingg in the studio with us this evening. And hello, guys. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
All
Papa
right.
Jack in the house.
All right. It's good to see you guys. First of all, I want to congratulate you guys on the new album. This being your third album, let's start off by telling us when you guys met and how Sproingg was formed.
Johannes, you want to
Well,
take
that was yeah. That was how many years ago? I don't.
it? It was late
9 years,
2014.
9 years ago.
Okay, almost 9 years ago. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's that.
So
Yeah. So
yeah, the origin of the band started a little earlier, some years earlier, when we met at a. Actually, it was at. I met Pudi at a concert of my boss, who was I was working with at the time, and he's a pianist. So we came to that same concert, and he told me that he was looking for a band, and I was looking for a band at the same time too, and so that was how we two met. And actually, we learned that we already had been acquainted before, because we had a mutual friend who I had been living with earlier, and so. And this old friend, he is a drummer, so we formed the kind of proto Sproingg at that time with Pascal, the drummer, and Pudi and me. Um, but then he had to leave, and we had another drummer. And when he left too, he was going to Peru for 1 year to explore the world. Uh, we thought, well, okay, he's gone for a year. We're not going to wait for 1 year for our drummer to come back. So we put up an ad in kind of online thing, and Eric was one of the people who responded, and so we met up and started to jam together. And actually, that first jam which we recorded was the beginning of one of the tracks that is actually on our first CD, which is called "And the Mountain Rat Saw God." So that was actually our very first jam together when this piece started.
Yeah,
That's how Sproingg came together.
hey, that's one of my fave tracks too off the first album. That's really
Mine
cool.
too, yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, and how did you guys get the name Sproing?
Well, it's actually it's a kind of you know those sound words in comics like boing
Yeah.
or chaka or
Sproingg.
Splat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's and our music doesn't go splat or boing, it goes sproing.
And it is Sproing. It's you guys are Sproing. I mean, like when you hear one of your guys' tracks, you know who it is. It's Sproing. It's like, and if you go, well, what can you classify it as? You classify it as Sproing. Right.
Yeah.
Really cool, man. Um, and I can say I got. Are you
I can
mainly?
add something if you want, Mike, while
Sure.
you're coming up with the question, just
Sure.
to what Johannes said. When I was looking for something, I had been in something when I got to Germany, a band, didn't work out. I was looking in this publication, a lot of crap, quite honestly. And then I saw an ad and it said something about Chapman stick and electric violin. And I remember my message I wrote, I think I'm your guy. As I saw those two things, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm your guy.
Yeah, and he was.
And he was. And it worked
He
out
still
very
is.
well. Yeah. It worked out very well. Um, are you mainly a studio band or do you also do live shows? Now, I know that Eric, you sent me a video of you guys playing out somewhere. But do you do that or you're mostly a studio project?
I mean, we like to play out. We really do. It's funny because, I come originally from the New York area, and in the New York area, it was pretty easy to get gigs. It wasn't so easy to get airplay, but it was easy because there was no Facebook. I mean, this makes it so much easy connecting with, heroes like you who just want to get music out there. And so in my old bands in America, gigs were no problem. Here, it's kind of the opposite. Now with Facebook and Found You and some other people, airplay is happening, which is really cool. I mean, we do some gigs, but it's tougher because you might have noticed we're not the most normal kind of music out there. And and it's much more limited where we are in Freiburg than it would be like in the New York area, just having places to play. And then within that limited scope of places, we have to find places where we, work,
Right.
which we are. We have something set up for July and the possibility for other stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the deal there.
Yeah. And
Would
there,
be more to play when we would live in Berlin or somewhere there, because I lived there 20 years ago, and there is also a big scene in this improv music and that stuff. So, but here in Freiburg, this is a small, yeah, I don't know how to say,
City.
small city with a small group of people who like such music. So
right.
often
Yeah.
we are too bad for their head.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And Eric, so you're in Germany, right? And how long have you been there, man? Like,
I've been in Germany. Wow, crazy. It's coming up on 11 years. Like
wow.
beginning of August is 11 years. And yeah, I've been a Sproingaloid for almost 9 of them. So that's cool.
All right. And so You're originally from?
Well, I was born in New Jersey
Okay.
and lived there a lot. I also lived in New York a bit, and I worked in Manhattan a lot, and I gigged in Manhattan quite a lot, like hundreds of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I consider myself a New Yorker, and when I talk to people here, it's easier to say New York. I mean, some people know New Jersey, but not everybody.
Right. Right. Yeah. uh, how long did it the new album? How long did it take to complete this new album?
I mean,
Well,
define complete,
Yeah, like yeah, complete.
yeah.
Yeah, like from start to finish. Like when you started, let's just say from the time that you started writing for the album to the time to finish up with the mastering.
Okay, so we started writing. Uh,
Uh oh, we've got a. Uh oh, what happened?
is and just start playing, and then sometimes magic happens, and we record all our rehearsals. So if the magic happens, we can listen back and see, oh, that was a nice part, or sometimes like with Ante Tonkel, which is one of the pieces of the new album, sometimes a song really comes together on the first play, and it's really Ante Tonkel was more or less fully formed when it happened. We just had to learn how to play it again.
Right.
So
Clean it
so
up
this
a
is
little bit. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
And of course, the songs, when we play them repeatedly, they also start to change. And but that's how we do it. We play together. Something happens. We think, oh, that's nice. Let's take this part, and then sometimes in another rehearsal, another part comes together, or we have some ideas how we could develop the piece. And and that obviously that takes time. When was the last album? Like
Came out September 2020.
yeah, so it's like 2.5 years ago. So we yeah, from when we started writing to recording, it was almost exactly 2 years. So we recorded the new album in August 2022. So it was almost 2 years from when we started to write it to the recording. Yeah.
And
But
keep in mind the
there was
brunt
about
of
6 months where we didn't play because of Corona, maybe, or in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah.
So this was, you can move that again. So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's
only
exactly
half
what I was going to say. Yeah. Yeah.
right. So you guys basically once you finished Clam, you guys really started putting it forth to the new one too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never stop.
No breaks, no breaks.
No.
That's
it's not
good.
only
No.
boring. When we just finished an album, then we want to play some new things. Then the old ones are boring then, and then we have to find some new ones suddenly. So
Right. Yeah.
And piggybacking on what Prudy said with COVID, we didn't really get to play Clam out a lot,
Yeah.
like hardly at all. Twice, I guess, with a one, yeah, and then Fabric died. So, and then it was like 6 months we didn't even see each other, except maybe like this, virtually once or twice. And then we got back together, we had to kind of like find our footing again a little bit and play. Yeah, and then it kind of started. Normally we would, like in this case, hopefully, with there'll be no COVID and we can maybe play Hirnkäse a bit,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
might be a little longer till we're working seriously on new stuff. Anytime we jam, it's potentially a new tune or part of a new tune.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Um Is there any different approach to recording this album compared to the last two, or did you go about it pretty much the same?
Well, well, of course, each time we recorded an album, we learned from what we did and we tried to improve on it. And so this time we spent much more time on getting the drums sound right. So that was really, we had, I think it was a whole day just getting the drum sound right. So that was a change from the previous album. But apart from that, we recorded in the same space, and yeah, so that was pretty much the same, except this time the temperature was much higher. we recorded in it.
We found our old language, which was a little bit forgotten. We found it again, and then we started to sing. This is also a new item in our music now, which also has got an influence on the music, because I cannot really good sing and play together at once, so in parallel too. So, but this makes also a new chance on the other side, that there is more. The music gets more dynamically than on the ways.
Yeah. And I know on this new release, the drums are cooking, man. The drums, they're cooking very well. I like that sound, man. Really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what Johannes said, I mean, the first CD, we spent about 5 minutes on the drums, because the little dirty secret a lot of people don't know is that the first CD wasn't supposed to be a CD. We just decided to make a demo so we can get some gigs, and we recorded it. And after, we were like, oh man, this sounds good. Let's see if I think we can make a CD. And so then I spent a lot of time in post-production, like doubling tracks and doing all sorts of tricks to fix what we didn't pay attention to at all. And I think it came out pretty good, in that case. And then Clam, we spent a lot more time on the drums, but not like this time.
Right.
And just like Johannes said, we get better each time because we're mixing it too. And I mean, I had some experience before, but this is different, and also when it's your baby, it matters,
It does. Yes, it really does.
And so this time, I think honestly, I got a bit better working with the drums, and we recorded it, really well.
I think.
I mean, Johannes was great putting up with me saying, "Oh, can we move the mic, this little bit, whatever," and it was awesome.
Yeah.
No, I think this time we finally did Eric's drums justice, because I think his drums really are central to Sproingg's sound, and so I'm really happy that we got a decent drum sound this time. Yeah.
Sure. And
Me too.
Yeah, and really outstanding job as well with this new release. I noticed the drums are more up front, perhaps more like just the tone of them all the way around. And being a drummer, I noticed these things.
Yeah, that was intentional. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm really glad you noticed.
Yes. You guys we're talking about how you create. So basically, one of you comes up with a riff, and you take it from there and present it to other guys, or is it a full effort, like all three of you together in a room, or does somebody just, like I say, have a riff and say, hey, look at this, check this out? And how do you guys do about that, man?
There is an echo here a little bit.
Okay.
You didn't understand. He said, how do we go about jamming when we have a session? Does one of us say, hey, let's try this?
No.
Or
it's every time like somebody is starting and the other gonna play with them, and it's like everybody should play some some good thing, but on the other side, it's more or less impossible to play some bad thing. It's always good. I think it was really the first band where I was playing that each time when we were meeting in the rehearsing room and gonna play, we find something which is really good, sometimes extremely good, but never really bad. So I don't know why this is like this, but it is like a little bit strange, a little bit crazy also. I don't know that, but really it's like this. So
Yeah.
and really often we perform then a song from this um, jamming. Sometimes it's like Johannes said with Antonio, like the first time it was clear. In other songs maybe needs up to 10 times meeting, and then it's more or less clear. But on the other side, it's like that Eric seems to play really correctly each time. And in my thing is that I can't play the exact clone thing every time. It's always a little bit changed, but it does not matter on the other side. But yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I do, like, I'll have something I work on at home, like a pattern, and I'll bring it in. But we very rarely talk about it. It's just we're jamming, and if I feel it with what we're doing, I might try to play my thing, and it doesn't have to be like I played it. It's just me putting in that idea. That's happened sometimes. Um, Another thing I think is really interesting with what Mike is saying is, like, yeah, there's, like, King Crimson, they used to say they were other as a band. They were just so different, And I feel a little bit like sometimes we're jamming and, like, there's like a magic there. Like, you can feel it. And it's really hard to describe. There's been times where it really feels like through osmosis, we're like connected, because I mean there's been a couple of songs, like at the end of Stuffer Gapes, Prudy and I, in the jam that led to that, we just started like reacting off each other, and it just became that. And it was kind of like, and when I listened back to it, I was like, how did we know to stop there? We both stopped together exactly. And that's happened, other times. I mean, Anta Tunkel too was kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's yeah, it's really important. I think when we play together, we try to have big ears and to listen to each other, and then yeah, sometimes magic happens. I don't know where it comes from.
Big eyes also. I was also used at times to see what the drummer is playing and I tried to play the same with rhythm. Yeah, and often it works well. But yeah,
yeah, well, and you guys got the chemistry. That's why you, Eric, you talked about how do you know when to stop? That because you guys got the chemistry, man, and it shows. It shows in your playing, and it shows in the performance. You know, and it's really good stuff, man. Really good stuff. Hey, while we're at it, and I always ask everybody this, and it's a guest. Who are your musical influences? Everybody here.
Okay, maybe I'll start.
Sure.
I grew up on classical music. So my parents at home, they listened to classical music, and I actually started out on violin, and then later discovered the Beatles, which was my entry into pop and rock. And from there, I started to get interested in the weirder stuff, starting with Genesis or Yes, and then Van der Graaf Generator, and then it was like around 1990. I at a local cinema I saw the movie Step Across the Border, which is a documentary on Fred Frith, the British guitarist, and that really blew my mind and opened a whole other world of music, like improvised music, and what you can do with sounds. And so that's how I got into improvised music. And at that time I actually played in a punk rock band, which was not so much improvised, but later I started playing in other bands, and to started to explore this kind of music a little more, and that's what we did with Sproingg. So that was kind of my musical evolution.
Yeah.
Prudy, you want to go next?
You can, or should I do?
You go ahead if you want to.
Okay. My roots are the punk rock, but not the really straight punk rock. I like all. I started to like the not so easy and more complicated punk rock, like called jazzcore punk, like the No Means No from Canada. I like very much, or the Victims Family. And on the other side, I hear all like things like John Thorne. And I had a band in Berlin when I lived there. It was called More Paul, and it was when the singer left and a saxophone player came, and then we played together the saxophone and the guitar, and then we learned also the Bruschmarian language to sing, and there we also improvised some parts, and there was really big changes in rhythm and speed also, and also the parts like in how to say it in fünf Viertel, what is it in?
5/4.
Okay, and 7/8. That's seems like that, and we gonna improvise more and more, and then it break, and then I had a rock band again, and then I met Johannes. And then this started.
There was also a lot of classical in my house when I was a kid from my parents. My sister listened to, it wasn't rock. It was more like Elton John, a little Bowie, maybe Billy Joel or something. But so I heard a lot of that. And then when I was about, and then I went to a camp, a sleepaway camp when I was 13. Somebody there had some Frank Zappa and some Rush. And that I was like, oh, I came home and I bought that. And then when I was 15, I was still kind of more into rock just regular rock in general, as opposed to crazy stuff. And a friend of mine played me Tarkus from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And I just like, my jaw dropped because I was like, I didn't know that was allowed. I didn't know that was possible, that you could just do that, And then I saw King Crimson. I was 16. And because my seats were like horrible, just couldn't see a thing. I had a speaker in my face. I got up. It was a real small place. And I started walking around and nobody stopped me. And I ended up about 10 feet from Bill Bruford, the drummer.
Oh, wow.
Watching the show. And that was it right there. He became one of my favorite drummers. I've seen Crimson 24 times. I've seen Bruford live about 60 times.
Wow.
And then, through drum teachers, and then I was very into prog, like Johannes said, old Genesis, yes, and then King Crimson. And then through a drum teacher, I got much more into Zappa and then a lot of fusion. I got into a lot of fusion for a while. And then I majored, one of my two majors in university, in college, was music, performance. And so I got exposed to a lot of jazz and, world music and minimalism and different stuff. So it's kind of all in there, and it all comes out in Sproingg, sometimes all in one song.
Sure. Yeah. I can hear it, man. Yeah, for sure. Really cool on the influences, guys. That's great, man. That's really cool. Let's talk about that now. I'm gonna tell you what, man. We since we've got a lot of artists, musicians, we like to talk about gear. So, yeah, it got to rear its head up that we got to talk about that. Let's talk about the gear that you guys use because, like I said, man, being a musician, myself and some others here, we like to know what kind of gear you guys use. So, Eric, you start off, man, and we'll go with each one of you.
Okay. I mean, just in terms of the drums, I play Premier drums. I have a great set from the early 80s, just really good quality. I use mostly Zildjian cymbals. And as you know, the attentive listener might hear, I have a kind of weird cymbal setup. So I stack some cymbals one inside the other and have them backwards on the stand so I can do very staccato, very fast, quick stuff. Because if I would do like that wouldn't work with normal cymbals. You just hear
Yeah.
and so that's what I use there. A little bit of pasty, but mostly Zildjian, almost all. And just in terms of recording, I have, because of a studio gig I had a long time ago, I have some really good microphones. And that really helped the recording. I have like Neumann U87s, some Sennheisers, which are great. Yeah, I mean, AKGs, so that really helps. That helps the recording a lot.
Okay, so maybe I'll do next.
Yes.
So, well, part of my gear is here, there.
Yeah.
A Chapman stick. I got, actually, I have two sticks. One is the 10 string you can see here, which is more or less the classical model. I was influenced by King Crimson as well, and Tony Levin is one of my heroes. Not exactly in terms of hairdo, but musically. Tony Levin and Trey Gunn, who used to play in King Crimson. So that's how I learned of the Chapman stick, and so this is one, and also I also have what is called a stick guitar, which has 12 strings. The strings are a little shorter, so it doesn't go as low in the bass as the regular stick does. But I have other possibilities, other sounds I can get out of it, and so these are my two Chapman sticks. And then in terms of violin, I play an electric violin. It's the Steinberger design, the NS design violin. You probably remember the headless guitar, Steinberger guitars from the 80s.
Yeah.
And he also developed a headless violin. I think Laurie Anderson was one of the first who played that Steinberger violin, and he kind of developed the design, and I really love the sound of the Steinberger violin. It's really, really cool. And I have a 5-string violin, so it has one lower string than a regular violin, and yeah, I play it through Fender guitar amp. It's a Pro Reverb from, I think it's from like something like 1979 or something. And I love to use lots of effects pedals. That's really my thing, to get really strange sounds where you can't really tell what's happening, and yeah, sometimes I think I take up the role of a keyboard player or something by making pad sounds to get a kind of spacey sound. I really love that, and And the Chapman stick, I also you may know that the stick has both bass and melody strings, and so if you want to, you can use 2 amps for it. So I play the melody strings through the Fender amp and the bass strings through my old Trace Elliott bass amp, which is, I think, probably almost 30 years old now also. So, but actually, when recording, I have to make a confession. I didn't use the Fender amp. I went direct
Yeah.
through a Strymon Iridium pedal. So that's
Yeah.
my dirty little secret.
And based bouncing off what Johannes said, I've had people ask me or write maybe over Facebook, who's your keyboard player? Kind of cool.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Okay, then I can take over. I play a Ibanez guitar, a very old one from the 80s. I don't know the name of the model, but it looks like a Fender Stratocaster a little bit, but I've got some humbucker pickups inside to have a better sound, which is not brummen. What is it?
Hum.
Brum? Up? Up, okay.
Hum. Yeah.
And then I've got a Duesenberg baritone guitar for the case when Johannes is playing the violin. I play the baritone guitar. And the amplifier is a Mesa rectifier Roadster, which I've got in 4 independent channels that I can really have really good different sounds. And an oversized 412 box to get a good low frequency sound for the baritone guitar also. And that's it.
Nice. Very nice.
But
I'm not used to have effects because our keyboard player has it.
But Rudy's amp was the real amp when we recorded, so we mic'd it up. That we didn't cheat in this case.
Okay, guys. The studio, is it home studio or did you do bigger scale studio or which one was it? Like
we actually didn't rent a studio, or we recorded in our rehearsal space.
okay.
We are lucky that we have a space which sounds good, and so we are happy that we can record in our space where which we are familiar with, and we of course it's much cheaper. We don't have to rent a studio, and yeah. But it also has a downside because, as we said before, we recorded in August, and it was really one of the days we recorded were some of the hottest of the last year, and so it was really. I don't know how the degrees Fahrenheit we had, but it was really.
I mean,
we had 48 degrees Celsius. So
yeah. And we had other bands use this studio too, so we had to reserve these days. So we didn't have the option when we saw how hot it was to say, okay, we're not going to do it then, we're going to do it next week. That just wasn't possible. That doesn't even consider our schedules, which also would have made it difficult.
Yeah.
And outside it was about 102.
Ooh.
But we had to keep everything closed for better sound. And, there's amps running.
Oh, yeah.
And 3 guys working,
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it was about 107 inside. It was basically like working out in a sauna.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. With the gear, is it a console or did you interface for recording?
We actually we used I think it's a Tascam interface, a 16 channel, and used a MacBook with Logic for recording.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that. How you guys did recording. Um,
One thing is to say for me, it's the positive energy we have in our rehearsing room, and this is not comparable with a room where you pay for in another area where it's really good to have this possibility here. Then you feel like at home, and this is the best start point for us.
right. Yeah. There you go, man. Let's talk about the name of this album, which I got the name of the album, and what is the meaning of that?
One of you Germans want to take this?
Hirnkäse is the name of the album, which translates as brain cheese. And what that means you can see on the album cover, actually.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe Eric can tell a little bit more about the cover.
Yeah, I mean, we Hirnkäse was coming together as a song, and at one point, we named it, right? And so when we were pretty clear, hey, we've got enough tunes, we're happy, we want to record, we suggested to use that as the name of the CD because we thought it was really cool. And I had the idea, because I tend to have ideas sometimes at like 5 a.m. or something. So I had this idea, it would be really cool to have I had the idea for what would be on the cover, basically. And I realized we couldn't do it. I mean, we couldn't do my idea justice as I saw it. That was my opinion. I asked them what they thought. Then I had the idea to approach graphic design schools in the area and say, look, I got this idea. And if you guys want to make it like a contest for your students, then we're going to give the winner some money, which we did, a little bit of money, not a ton. And of course, they get credit on the CD and they get mentioned in the press releases, and they get to have it in their portfolio. So the idea is that a happy couple, and happy is really key for me, are sitting at their breakfast table, and the guy's scalp is like mostly off, and the wife is dipping into his brain cheese to spread it on toast, and he's already eating that, and she's preparing hers. And critical for me, which took a while to get the students to understand, was that they're happy, they're satisfied. This is like a normal day for them, and they're completely happy. There's no panic, there's no pain, there's no terror. It's like everything's good. And so that was the idea, and yeah, we're pretty happy,
Yeah.
with the result.
Yeah. Eric, did you do the cover? Did you create? I mean, did you actually do the cover, or did you have somebody do that, or?
So the front cover, a student at the graphic design school drew this image, right? This whole image.
Right.
And Johannes does our CD layout. So he put our band name and the name of the CD on it, and he handled, the rest of the layout.
Cool. Yeah, it's the cover.
One thing again, but I think the real first name was a little bit longer. It was a typical together word like brain cheese soup vegetables. But then we thought, oh, it's a little bit long, this name, and nobody will understand it. And then we take it shorter in that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man, and really cool. And you guys, let's go through the track listing. We're gonna play it all the way through. And that's the way it's meant to be played, all the way through in its entirety. After the interview here, But before we do that, let's go. I'm gonna let you guys go through the track listing, and any stories, and I'm sure there's gonna be some stories behind or meanings behind each track. So if you guys want to go ahead and do that, we can do that if you want.
Who's interested in taking that?
So the first track, actually, Rudi, you has to tell us about it because it's the first track is in completely in Bruschmarian.
And in English, it's like there was a word, a Bruschmarian word, and a phrase, a text. And because of the fact that I like mathematics, I'm a physicist, is my job. And I like to play with things like to spring it from the back to the beginning, from in verse. And then the same phrase that means the first one is bruba chigiting, and this is knit ekshit aburb when it's changed, and so on.
And the name of that is Gnorps 2.
Which means sprung spoken from the back to the beginning.
Norps.
Gnorps, Sproingg backwards.
Yeah, okay, I got you. I see that now. The Norps 2. And that's what kicks off the album.
And as Prudy was saying, I mean, this is basically just him, this track, and he's speaking Bruschmarian like only he can. And yeah, I mean, we characterize that as the half-forgotten, semi-remembered language of the country of Bruschmaria. And I'd say there's, go ahead. There's I guess 3 people in the world at least who know it. We 3.
A little bit more, like
More.
I got to know it in my old punk rock Morpolg group from Berlin. There we started to speak this, and we were used to make a tour in Russia 25 years ago, where I was used to speak to the Russian people in that language about 5 minutes, and they said, "What's that?" We got big eyes and big ears, and then we started playing. It was funny to us and to them. I think it's just another language which impressed how the feeling and
What about the second track now? And I'm gonna try to go with the pronouncement Abba Baba.
Prudy, you want to do that one too?
yeah, it's just like there were two parts of the song A, B, A, and we just say Abba, like A, B, A, B, A. And when you speak it fast, it's Abba.
Abba Baba.
Exactly.
Abba Baba. Cool. And while we're talking about this, I noticed that you've got a lot more vocal in this album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, the first time the other 2 albums were completely instrumental. Yeah, so that was actually the idea was already a little older. So we had the idea that we wanted to start singing and to have vocals, but we were a little.
We're getting a little bit of feedback. Well, not feedback, a little bit of a delay. I can hear us talking with a delay. Is anybody got speakers turned up? Turn them. Can you turn them down just a little bit where you can still hear? Because it seems like it's been bleeding over to the stream.
How's that? I turned
Yeah,
down my speaker.
Okay. Yep, I can still hear it just a bit, but it's better than it was. Yeah, because I was hearing some delay. There you go. Can you? But as long as you can still hear.
Now it's good.
Yeah, now
Okay,
it's
good.
better.
I heard it also, and I couldn't understand something because of this delay.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's yeah. Now that's a
Now
lot
it's better,
better. Okay. Yeah. I just caught that, and I was like, I noticed earlier it was like, was it? I thought it was something on my end, but no. Okay, we're good
Mm.
now.
Okay.
Yeah. Abba Baba. That's the Abba Baba. There you go.
Abba
Blah.
Abba Baba.
Yeah, and we had the idea earlier that we wanted to try and have some vocals, but yeah, we didn't really get around to doing it, and I don't know, it's still a little. I think it's there's two sides because on one hand, I think it's nice to have vocals because you get a different connection to your audience when you have a human voice that's speaking or singing. You get a more direct connection you can get. But on the other hand, bad vocals really can turn you off to a band. So we
right.
wanted to get it right.
And on the third hand, I like dataism, which means that nonsense is better than no sense at all. And so,
Exactly. I couldn't say it better.
What's the number 3 for whom the belch tolls?
Belch is also called Boosh.
So there's a guy named Adrian Bell, and his nickname is Belch. And he's very involved in the music scene and does some broadcasts and stuff. And yeah, he's a good guy. And so that came about because it just kind of fit, to the song.
Very cool. Yeah. And this is, and really, man, this is a really good album all the way through. I had the pleasure to, kind of preview the tracks, before we did the interview today. And, and man, yeah, we're all in for a nice treat this evening when we play this. So it's really cool. Let's go for number 4. Is that called, I will try to say it, Antitonkel? Is that correct? I'm probably got that wrong.
It's pretty close. I have a little story about that one. It's Antitonkel. Maybe they pronounce it even better. But so I'm an American here in Germany.
Yep.
And my German's decent, but it's so far from perfect, it's not even funny. But I'm happy I can communicate and people understand me. And there was one rehearsal because we play, but we also hang out and talk. We like each other, we like to hang out in the other room. And we were talking, and I remember pretty clearly, this is my recollection anyway, you guys tell me if I'm off, that I was saying something about and I often speak German there, and I was saying something about my aunt and uncle. And that would be Tante is aunt and uncle is uncle. But instead of saying my tante and uncle, I said my uncle and tante. No, my uncle, yeah.
Yeah, you said my
Antitonkel.
Ante
And I
Tonkel.
seem to remember that Johannes thought that was hilarious, and we ended up using that as a song title.
Like a word game. To move the first letter of Tante to Onkel, and then it's not Tante, it's Ante Tonkel. To move the T from Tante to the beginning of Onkel, Tonkel.
I got you there. Man, see, I'm learning a lot, guys. This is really cool. Yeah. Now, number 5. Now, we go back to revisit JoJo, which was JoJo was on Clam, correct? Yeah, Clam.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is, and her name was JoJo the Dog Face Boy Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take that one and then I'll shut up and let you guys do a couple. So back in the day, you know, we're talking like in my early 20s, a friend of mine had a girlfriend whose name was Joelle. And unbeknownst to my friend, we called her JoJo, not Dogface, but we just called her JoJo. And I'm pretty sure that there was one guy in, you know, on a probably, you know, somewhat drunken night who said JoJo the Dog-Faced Boy. Not that she wasn't bad looking or anything, it was just funny at the time, you know. And that just stuck in my head like forever. And in Clam, I had JoJo is like different than most, both JoJos are different than most of the songs because Johannes and Prudy already described, you know, pretty well how we go about doing everything. In both the JoJos, I kind of had the drum part. I created it on my own and brought it in and we did it. But what's interesting is we did it in a very Sproingg way, whereas I played it when we recorded JoJo both times, both JoJos, I played it alone. And they came up with parts after. So they kind of, I don't know, you know, what was in their heads, if they improvised to what was there or whatever. But that was the one, those two were the different ones. And the fact that, so everything else we play live, the three of us, not vocals. Vocals were overdubbed on Clam, but otherwise we're playing stuff live and doing enough takes till we're happy and stuff like that. And JoJo, I played alone. We recorded it, and that lent itself this time to us making a music video. So there's also a music video to "And Her Name Was JoJo the Dog-Faced Boy" Part 2, which on May 5th, you know, became released on YouTube. And you know, the parts they added are great. The vocals I think are amazing. So yeah, very curious what people think.
Cool.
And you can watch us while we are recording it. So I filmed Eric when he was recording the drum part, and Eric filmed us when we were recording our part. So it's what you see is what you get, all but with overdubs.
Cool.
And you see also that when Eric was playing, it was summertime, and when we were playing, it was wintertime. You see it on the clothes.
Yeah. And so this video is available now on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
on the Sproingg YouTube channel.
All right, so you guys can go to YouTube on the Sproingg channel there at YouTube and check out the videos. It's nice, man. Let's go to number 6, and yep, I got to say this again. This word, the title track. Hirnkäse.
Hirnkäse.
Hirnkäse.
Yeah, very good.
Hirnkäse. Yeah, the title track. Hirnkäse.
Hirnkäse.
Hirnkäse.
Yeah.
I think that was Poody's idea, the title, wasn't it? I'm not sure.
I mean, I think what happened was, and Mike, you probably know Kelrod Kowalski.
Yeah, I don't know. I know of him. Yes.
Yeah, so he has something online, a portal called the Brain Cheese Preservatory. And he's another music champion. I mean, he doesn't have a show like you or anything. He's just really into music. He's a fan who.
Yeah, I've seen him. As a matter of fact, I think I'm friends with him on Facebook.
He's been at your show at least once, because I remember when I was there once.
Yeah.
He was there. And And so I think I had the idea, that would be cool. Brain cheese is cool. It would be cool to have Hirnkäse. I'm pretty sure Prudy came up with Hirnkäse
Hirnkäse
Suppensalat, right?
Suppengemüse.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to say, Hirnkäse was really a tough one to record because, it has 3 parts, and the third part is in 13/8, I think.
11.
No,
Oh wow.
11,
Yeah.
11/8.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was really a tough one to get right. And we had to try many times. We did many takes, and what you hear on the recording is the last take when we finally got it right. And we already told you about the temperatures in the room, and it was really
Yeah.
we were quite exhausted when we had finished that, and it was quite a relief.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's got to be brutal. I mean, you guys are doing that in the heat, man, like that. That's well, you know what they say. You get more creative with like that sometimes.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I got to say, it was because of the heat, it was stressful and we wanted to get it right. But it was like we got along great. There were no tempers flaring or
Right.
anything,
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I can relate in a way because last summer, I was tracking the new Terry Eckerd project we've been working on for quite a while now. We had our hottest month in June. Our hottest days were in June and July. August, not so much. Was usually August is just terribly, brutally scorching here. But no, in this case, last year it was June and July, and that was when I was out in the studio. I didn't have air conditioning out there, and it was like clocking probably about close to 110 out there, and I was tracking the drums, and man, I just had sweat just all over, and when you walked outside and being as hot as the way it's hot outside as well inside, when you walked outside, you felt cooler than inside. So yeah,
Yeah,
I can relate.
exactly.
Yeah, I can relate. Yes, that's the warrior coming out of you right there, man. Yeah. The next one, track 7. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce. I'll try it. I'll try it, man. Chizvok.
It's like Schubak, Schubak. It's like a little bit. It came from, I think, there was a Czech comic series which was called Lolek and Bolek.
Ah.
Maybe you know that. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit like this. Chubak, Chubak.
Chubak.
Chubak, Chubak.
Chubak.
Chubak,
Yeah.
Chubak.
One of our Bruschmarian titles. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So that piece originally was purely instrumental as well. And while we were recording it, we came up, Pudi came up with a vocal part, and I think that really lifted the track up a notch. It really came together with a vocal part. It's really that really made the track happen, I think.
Yeah. Cool. All right, man.
Now, this is typical Sproingg, that something new comes suddenly to the song, and it's when we are jamming. It's also like this. Yeah.
Nice, man. We got number 8, and I know who this is about. I do. High Up on Mushroom Hill, and I know exactly who you guys are talking about here, Mr. Paul Higgins, Aquarian Moons, Mushroom Hill. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Paul's a friend of the band, and likes to play us. And he just went through, some heavy medical stuff.
Yeah, I saw
He
that.
seems to be back on his feet, and he's got some shows coming out, which is great. So yeah, we're happy about that. Yeah, but you're exactly right, man. That's just a little bit of a nod to him,
Yeah,
another musical champion.
and we wish Paul the best, man. I've known Paul for quite a while. As a matter of fact, I met him and Anita when we had the little North Carolina Mafia meeting at Stuffer's store when he worked at the vape shop or the pop shop years ago, quite a few years ago now. But I got to meet. Well, I've known Stuffer pretty much since he was like 13.
Wow.
I saw Stuffer first. I used to hang out with the band that he was in called Legend, and he was a drummer, and he was like 13 then, and I saw Stuffer play, and I was like, wow. And Stuffer can play pretty much anything. He can play bass, sing, drums, guitar. He's very talented. And anyway, like I said, I've known Stuffer for that long. But we met all over at his store, the pop shop there in Salisbury, and Anita and Paul were there. And it was a real pleasure to hang out with them as well. Yeah, so we wish Paul the best. We hope Paul gets straightened out, because I know he's had some big time issues medically. And Paul, there goes to you, man. We're pulling for you, brother, and I hope you get feeling better, man, for sure. And hello, Anita. Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty wild that they were there, because they're out in Washington State.
Yes, they were coming through, and they were, I guess, a vacation or something. They were coming through, and they stopped through North Carolina, and yeah, so that was really cool. And yeah, so that was really cool. And I like meeting, and I've not, like I said, I met Paul years ago, and Anita as well, through another station back in the day, and it was Air Radio, back in the old Air Radio days, man. We used to hang out and chat and stuff, and I think Tim Correll's show and Tony Romero's show, Angela Buchanan, all those guys. We used to hang out together back in the day, and finally got to meet some of the people that I'd hang out in the chat room with. I hadn't met all of them yet, and I intend to do that soon, hopefully. I've got a lot of good friends that I've made over the years through there, and the show as well. And it's just like I say, man, it's always really cool to get the new artists, to get the artists, and even the artists I've had ever since I started. You just make a lot of good friends, and it's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool to meet the ones that you've always wanted to meet, and hang out with. So that's really cool. All right,
just one thing.
Yes.
Just one thing. Mushroom Hill is actually the one song where there's synthesizer on it.
Cool.
So I have a nice little Moog Taurus bass synthesizer, and that's what you can hear, just a few notes. But the rest of the album is just what could be synth or mellotron or whatever is my effects pedals.
Nice. There you go, man. It's really
And
cool.
just to mention, when people download digitally the tracks, or if you buy the CD, you get the digital download automatically. There's a bonus track, and this is an alternate take of that song, and it's called Higher Up on Mushroom Hill. We had two versions of it. We played it straight through. There's no overdubbing or anything, unless, I don't know if Johannes did anything after, but
yeah, a little
bit. But we had these two versions, and we liked both versions. And it was kind of like, they're both really good. They're similar, but different. So we kind of ended up using both. We picked one for the CD and one as the bonus track.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, cool. Number 9. And this place sounds familiar. This place sounds very familiar.
I have no idea what that title is about.
Ridge of Peas, Nation of Peace.
Yeah, man, Mike. I mean, you're like seriously like to me like a champion of music. You give all this time and effort. I can't imagine you're making much of any money from doing this. You're doing it because you love it.
Zilch.
To me, that's a champion, you know. And you've you know, ever since we connected, I guess we connected a little bit over Stuffer first because I knew Stuffer first.
We did.
You've just been, you know, a champion of music and of Sproingg. You know, you play us a lot, which is always appreciated, and you play such great music. I've met other great people through your show and found some great music, great bands, you know, and so it just seemed, you know, really appropriate to have a song, you know, named in your honor.
Well, I am honored, sir. I am very honored. You know, when you hit me up about that, I was like, what? You're going to write a song about me? The nation? Really? That's cool. And yeah, and guys, I'm very honored that you did. And yeah, for sure. I can't say enough about that. That really tickled me. And, you know, I even told my wife, Mel, I said, check this out. Look what these guys did. And she was like, cool. Mel says,
that song,
Mel says hello too, by the way. So she's
hi.
Yeah,
and that song is another one that features some stellar Bruschmarian, you know, from Prudy, and we all chime in and do our thing. But yeah, I mean that
it's like a Bruschmarian folk song.
Yes, and
like folklore.
And the vocals there.
In English?
Yeah.
Folklore.
The vocals there. You got the vocals going on in this one too. Now you got very vocalized in this one, big time. Number 10, and this is Sproingg spelled backwards. Norp's 1.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it is.
That's what it is. And that's all the 10 tracks right there. Now you get, like you said, a bonus track with the digital download, and that's right. All this can be down. You can get this over at sproingg.bandcamp.com. This is going to be released Friday?
Yeah, May 5th.
Which by the time we go to air, which will be Saturday the 13th, it will be available. It is available at sproingg.bandcamp.com. And man, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to spinning this album and getting everybody else to check it out as well. We're all in for a treat with this one tonight. Guys, anything else you'd like to add to this today?
I mean, when you go to the Bandcamp page, or if you own the CD, or a little bit on the Facebook page too, we also have a Facebook site, facebook.com/Sproingg. But if you go there, you see some really cool pictures of us, I think. And these were taken by Prudy's wife, who did an amazing job. We're really happy with these pictures, and I think they really kind of complete the CD, because we have that, and then inside we have like this kind of stuff, and on the back, you know, you got that picture, which we also thought she just did a fantastic job. So yeah, just want to give a shout out to Birgit, because she did us right.
Very good job. Yeah, very good job. Yeah. This is a whole complete package. It's really done very well, guys. And yeah, we're looking forward to spinning this. And yeah, so here's the deal. Since we're recording tonight or today, since we're recording, as I told you guys, I usually bring you guys back after we spin the album, but since we're recording, I won't be able to do that. That's only can happen in the live shows, but that's okay. We've got the interview here, and I wanted to get for quite some time we had arranged this, and I'm so glad that you guys were here today and took time out and letting us do the premiere as well. I really appreciate it, guys.
Oh,
Thank
it
you.
was a
We
pleasure.
appreciate you doing it.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it. So with that being said, guys, hang out for a moment. I'm gonna come back right here in a minute. When we get done with the interview, I'll come back here real quick and talk to you guys for a moment. So now we're gonna go ahead and spin the album in its entirety, and this is Sproingg. And guys, appreciate you being here.
Thanks,
Was a
Papa
pleasure.
Jack. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
All right, man. Take care. Be right back. There you have it, man. The interview with Sproingg. Hey, man, I want to thank Eric, Johannes, and Prudy. Man, that was a fun interview, too, as well. Really enjoyed that. And it was cool because it was my first taping of an interview. So we kind of tried to make it look like it was all right here together, which it is, but kind of that was a little bit earlier. So, yeah. But, yeah, man, that was really cool. And I think now I can do quite a bit of these now since we have the technology. So there you go, man. Thank you to guys in Sproingg. Now it is time to do this, man. We're going to go ahead and I tell you what, let's go ahead and spin the album in its entirety. Like I said, you can go to sproingg.bandcamp.com. It is available now along with their first two, which is the debut album and Clam, and now we have Hirnkäse. So yeah, so it's gonna be really great, man. You guys, I am too. We're all in for a treat tonight, as I said, by checking this out, man. So right now, without further ado. Without further ado, man, we're going to go ahead and spin the album in its entirety, and here we go.
Ruba-chicka-ding, bruba-chicka-dong, choo-baggedy-baggedy-baggedy-baggedy, ding-dong-rabang-dabang-dabang Wurzel. Gnit exit aburp, gnot exit aburp. Here's the grap. Here's the grap, here's the gaboes. Gniet, gnot, gnabar, gnabat, gnabat, lutsruf. Sproingg.
Banana do standa, casi canto do scanchara, siga, kishaka chukumanga, siga, satisca nambuja, kadazuka chakananasa, casi canto do sanchura, sala, kishaka mira, esa, amor que todo sara.
Malish, akushal sata pasha. Malish akasapur kushutata. Ashal pushil. Ashika shamalakashata. Kapashella. Asanisha pusatata. Koshel pushkasamalakashata. Apukushala. ABCD
Baggity, baggity, baggity, bobbity, baggity. Ding dong, rabang, dabang, dabang, yürüsün. Gidek şinabur, gatek şinabur. İşte kap, işte kap, işte kap, işte kapur. Gitton, yapar, yapar, yapar. Lüzri.
Iskustales povorki iskur bulgur. Iskustales povorki iskur bulgur. Iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales povorki iskustales
Kasatata. Koshetsatolsata.
Koshetsashoto.
Hakasajosh.
Hakashoshas.
Hakasatata. Hokosatasapachakata. Hakasatata. Hakasatabakasata.
Boja.
Kasatata. Hakasa. Hakasatata. Kasabatata. Halasata. Kaskatalasata. Kasabucha. Krasasapatakata. Rakasatata. Harakasatata. Hakasatata. Hakasatata. Hakasatata. Sproingg. Broebatsigeding. Broebatsigedong. Chubaggedy baggedy baggedy baggedy baggedy. Ding dong rabang dabang dabang wurzel. Nut exit aboerp. Not exit aboerp. Hier is de grap. Hier is de grap. Hier is de gaboes. Niet knots. Ngabar. Ngabat. Ngabat. Luts. Rut. Njord.
There you go, man. There you got it in its full glory right there. All the way through in its entirety. The brand new album from Sproingg. And it is called... Hirnkäse. Yes. You know what? I want to thank the guys in Sproingg. And Eric Feeder is still in the chat here with us. Man, thank you so much. You know what? You're a warrior, man. You stayed up way past your bedtime. I mean, it's got to be, what, 3 a.m. over there? Probably close to it, a little after. Yeah, I mean, yeah, thanks. Yeah, man. Really cool. I also want to thank Eric, Jonas, and Prudy. Man, you guys, yeah, man, that was really cool. And I enjoyed the interview. I enjoyed the album. Man, it was a great night of fun of Sproingg, man. Be sure, like I say, man, go to sproingg.bandcamp.com. That's where you can go get the new album, plus the other two as well. All three albums available now at sproingg.bandcamp.com. Also, I will post a link to their video. They got the video of JoJo, the Dog-Faced Boy, part 2. I will definitely put that up in the links of the show tonight on our Facebook page. So yeah, stay tuned for that. After the show, I will do that. Yeah, 3:30, Eric. I know, man. It's very. Good morning, Eric. Yeah, man. Yeah, you got it, man. And like I said, man, thank you guys for being here tonight. Thank you all for tuning in tonight to the premiere, the brand new album from Sproingg. I tell you what we're gonna do right now is Eric. Yeah, I tell you what we're gonna do. Let's go ahead and do this here. You guys been patient. Let's go ahead and get into the period of Jacka Baby Dungeon. Tell everybody hello, Jacka Babies over here at Twitch, man. You got it. You got it. You got it. You got it. You got it. Yeah. Hey, man, I want to say hello to Frank and Cats. What is up, Frank? It's good to see you, man. Be sure and check out Frank and Cats. Frank, a longtime friend of me here on the nation. Yeah, Frank, a longtime friend. He's got his own Twitch channel. Like I say, man, Frank's one of the original life casters still out there. So be sure and check him out. Frank and Cats on Twitch. It's good to see you, Frank. Oh, let's see who else we got in here. I got to get a. I'll say hello to O1 Ella. I'm try to pronounce. See, I'm having trouble pronouncing names tonight, as you see. Onelli. Hello, Onelli. I want to say hello to AOK. Alessidra. Aquarian Moons. That's Mr. Paul Higgins, man. Check him out. Yeah, Paul, man, doing a great show over there at Aquarian Moons over at Spreaker.com. Saturdays, I think it's 10 a.m. Eastern. I do believe. Yeah, be sure to check him out. And Busy Brain Girl. Hello, Busy Brain Girl. And you've been enjoying the music of Sproingg we all have tonight. Thank you for being here. Commander Root, what is up? Want to say hello to Daniel ADOQUX. Okay, Daniel. I say hey, Daniel Lady. Danny Lady. Hello, Danny Lady. I think I got that right. Hello, Drap Snap. Hello, Elysian. Mr. Eric J. Comfort, Mr. EC. What is up, Eric? Eric Feeder from the band Sproingg is here. Yes. Thanks a lot, Eric Feeder. Gamers Lounge, hello. And Lisa Bay, Kata, Streamers Social Space, Stuffer 412, man. What is up, Stuffer, man? Stuffer White, light without heat. Good evening, boys and girls. I told you, Stuffer, man, to see you, man. Good to see you, man. And hoping you'll be back with your shows very soon or soon enough. Because I miss you, man. I miss you on the Sunday evenings because that's all like a Pea Ridge ritual here, man. Sunday evenings and tune in to Stuffer's Light Without Heat, man. Is that, you know what I've been doing, Stuffer, since you've been absent from the show? I've been tuning in to, remember Slacker Radio I used to do on the deck out here? And I tune in to, now it's called Premium Prime, Premium 1 or some shit like that. So I tune into that on Sunday nights just so I can get my prog fix, man. Yeah, so yeah. Just say, yeah, so hurry back when you can. Good to see you, Stuffer. I'll say hello to Tensu. Hello, Tensu. Also want to say hello to Mike Bershner. Michael Bershner from the band Host Galaxy that was here. Yeah. We had a pretty good turnout tonight, man. Thank you all for tuning in, man. So I'm gonna go ahead now and close the dungeon. How you doing? Hey. All right. Night, Eric. Thank you again, man. Oh, and I also want to say hello and greetings to all of you over at House of Prog. And thank you for Rick Henry for having us again, like I said, on the replay, the audio replay on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern on House of Prog. So it's really great over there, man. Thank you guys there as well. Thank you guys over here at Twitch. Thank you to all the artists that we play all these times. And of course, all the listeners and the viewers and the chatters and all that, man. So thank you much. I'm going to go ahead and make a little announcement, too, while I'm at it. While I'm still yammering. While I'm still in yammering mode, I'm going to make a little announcement tonight. This will be the last show until the last Saturday of May. Reason is because I'm going to be a guest on DJ Tony's show next Saturday. The Progressive Microscope with DJ Tony on House of Prog at 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. I'm going to be there with sitting with Tony on his show, and we're going to talk about an album, but I can't tell you what album it is yet. I don't even think we know what album it is yet. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. I always have fun on Tony's show, man. And so, yeah. Tune in, man. houseofprog.com. Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll be there. Get in the chat. Say hey to everybody, man, too, because there's a chat room over there as well. So, that being said, I will not be doing a show, a WTAU Pea Ridge Nation show next Saturday evening because I'm older and my butt gets tired and I'm an old man. So, hey, face it, we all get up in age a little bit and we get Get off my lawn, okay? Get off my lawn. But I will be back live here on Twitch May the 27th. I believe that's it. Let me go check. Hey, let me check. Yep, May the 27th. I'll be back here live, and I will have, and it's, you know what it is. It's to be the last Saturday of the month. So, you know what that means? That means all metal slam down. Yeah, man. You know what I'm talking about, man? Where you get the goo and the goo, man. You got the heavy metal. Yeah, all kinds of heavy metal are going to be played on the 27th, the last Saturday of this month, right here on the WTAU Pea Ridge Nation. I tell you, got it, man. Night, Paul. Good to see you, man. Ain't been a while, man. Good to see you, man. Good to see all of you, man. Thank you for being here. All right. Since we got a little bit more time left, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're just going to finish out tonight with some more Sproingg. Now, I said of it as an evening of Sproingg, so that's exactly what it is. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're going to do, man. And like I say, man, that was a pleasure to do that. Like I said, man, that was the first time I ever taped an interview, and I thought it worked out pretty good. There's a little bit of glitches in there, and that was on. I thought it was my end pretty much. It was some things that happened, the echo thing, and then the buffering problem started there at the beginning, kind of. But it all worked out well, I thought. So, like I said, man, I can do a lot more of these, so because there's a lot of artists that we play that are in that time zone, Germany and places like that. So we can do interviews in the daytime. Oh, yeah. We can do it during the day. Hey, yeah, man. All right, let's go right back to it. We're going to fish out tonight, the rest of the night, with some Sproingg, some more Sproingg, okay? And like I say, man, you can go to sproingg.bandcamp.com for all these albums, all 3 albums up there. Yep. So let's go ahead and do this one. This one's cool. Talking about Stuffer. They wrote a song about Stuffer, too. It's on Clam. And this track is called Stuffer Vapes and Drapes His Cape on a Gaping Ape. Let's do it. Yeah. Yeah, man. Sproingg. That's right. Was called Stuffer Vapes and Drapes his cape on a gaping ape. From Clam. Yeah, man. Sproingg. Yeah, I want to thank you guys again in Sproingg for having me do the premiere tonight. And like I say, man, you can go check them out over at sproingg.bandcamp.com. Go pick up the new album. Yeah, go pick that new album up. Yep. It's really cool. It was a treat tonight to listen to, too, babies. It really was. Hirnkäse. Yep, that's it. And, be sure and go over there, man, and pick that up. And while you're at it, pick up the other two as well. They all go together very well. Yeah, man. And remember, also, like I said earlier, I will not be here live next Saturday evening. But join us over a little earlier, 1 p.m. Eastern, over at houseofprog.com. I will be a guest over at DJ Tony's show. The Progressive Microscope. We will be talking about an album, digging into an album, a certain album that, like I said, I don't even know what it is yet. I better be thinking of it. Because it's next Saturday. Yeah. So we'll do that, man. And like I say, I come back live Saturday, May the 27th for the All Metal Slam Down. You got it, man. Thanks again to Sproingg. Thanks again to everybody, all you guys out there. Everybody that tuned in and hung out on the couch tonight. Thank you all. Appreciate it. I want you guys to have a wonderful rest of your evening or afternoon, wherever you may be. Have a rest of your day, evening, night, and a great week ahead as well. So with that, you know what? That's going to do it for Papa Jack. Yeah, that's going to do it for old Papa Jack tonight. And see you in 2 weeks. And like I say, man, catch me live over at DJ Tony's House of Prog next Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Gonna be a lot of fun. Always a lot of fun on Tony's show, man. There you go, man. So, in 2 weeks, we'll see ya. Larry Bacon. There you go. Night, everybody. Take care, man. We'll see you. Peace out. Love, man. All that stuff, man. Bye-bye.